Okay, I should be live here. So, someone in a comment on one of my live streams not long ago, which, by the way, I'm surprised my live streams post like publishing them have actually been getting oh shoot, good, that's there. Whatever. Oh, it's after hours. Slack messages from work. I'll get to that after the stream. Okay, so I was thinking today, because I have the time, I would like to go through and calculate all the costs for my flight simulator. I'll probably split this up in some parts, maybe make a YouTube short about it or whatever. But yeah, so first thing that we'll need to do is just get the raw data. So I purchased my Yahoo. Well, actually, I didn't purchase it. I'm a backer of the original Kickstarter campaign. So I spent around 2.5K on it, I think. Um, Something like that. Honestly, super low price, such a steal. I don't know what they were doing. Well, actually, we know what they were doing now. I'm gonna have to mute those notifications. Okay, so about the Yahoo, or I pledged, not pledged, yeah, pledged on Kickstarter for the Yahoo. I was like backer 23, I think is the number. So the Yahoo is now pretty much double, if not more. Yeah, actually, it is over double what I had paid for it now. Um, but the plus side is most backers, unfortunately, unless you were in like the first 100, even if you were in the first 100, you're going to be waiting quite a while to get your Yahoo, most likely. The financial situation of the company isn't the best because the simulator was sold at such a low cost, and the Kickstarter happened like a couple months before the war in Ukraine. So the war in Ukraine happened, they started manufacturing like basically around when it happened. So prices for everything skyrocketed. Um, and it's just a tough situation because a lot of backers they pledged at like $3,000 to get a fully kitted out Yaw Pro, and they like Yaw can't even like that's below cost for the simulator right now. So it's not a great situation, but the good news is that if you do buy the simulator at full price right now, you are keeping the company afloat, and once they hit certain profit, well, not profit, but even just revenue milestones, they're essentially reinvesting the money that's being made by selling the yaws at a increased cost so that they're actually making profit on it. They're reinvesting that money back into producing simulators for the Kickstarter backers. So it's not like they've abandoned the Kickstarter backers. It's just that if they were to fulfill Kickstarter backers before, simulators that are actually making them money, they would go out of business immediately. Uh, so it's kind of what it is. But for the simulator, so I have the Pro with the Yaw platform, so that's what allows me to have Yaw. You can get it without the Yaw, which means you don't go left and right. You just tilt. Well, you can't spin around. You can tilt left and right. You can go forward and back, but there's no spinning. I really like having Yaw, hence why I have Yaw on it. It's just a platform that goes underneath, as you can see in this image here. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and just say, $4,070 for the Yaw 2 Pro. Plus, I guess I also got a seat, so that's another 200. I should actually do this simulator. Yeah, we'll also look at some comparable simulators, like it we'll look at the DOF Reality because the DOF Reality is probably the closest competitor, but I would never purchase a DOF Reality because when y'all announced the issues they were having with the uh, you know the struggles with the Kickstarter campaign, the DOF Reality owner or someone that worked for them, I'm pretty sure is the owner, basically came into the Yaw Discord and tried to poach users by giving like a 10% discount for the DOF Reality and like basically calling the Yaw 2 dead and that everyone was being abandoned. Really scummy behavior. So you want to buy a DOF Reality? Go ahead. I personally, after seeing what they did, don't want to support that business. People might have questions about the arcade version of the simulator. Basically, it's just a more robust version that it has some software and hardware gimmicks that make it easier for letting people come in and use it in an arcade, essentially. Unless you're an arcade operator, you don't want it. And even then, I actually, you know what? If you have a solid business strategy, you could probably run the yacht in an arcade. You could probably do that. You could probably do that just fine. Okay, so that's kind of for the simulator base plus the chair. Now, I believe that the Pro comes. Okay, so you can either get a central mount with like a large gaming plate, or you can get two side rails with small plates. I would actually recommend that you get the side plates, or the side rails with the side plates, and here's the reason why. So, and it may have changed a little bit since I got mine, because again, I was one of the first people to get a yaw. The current design has this like center mounted holder. It can work, right? But if there's too much weight, it's going to wobble around quite a bit. I have one of their initial plates and I have customized the crap out of it. And I would actually probably recommend for people to do their own mounting solution if they want to be able to transition between a flight simulator and racing. Because without proper support, you're not going to be able to fit a Fanatec direct drive wheel, two flight sticks, keyboard, and a mouse without there just being a ton of weight on the simulator. So the nice thing about with the side rails is you can get your own 240 V slots, which are used like and gantries, or just V slots in general, and mount them to the side rail mounts. And that allows you to build your own frame that is. It's probably quiet. It allows you to build your own frame that's going to be a lot more solid. So that would be my recommendation, and I'll kind of go through like general cost and how to pick out parts for designing your own frame. But yeah, I would probably go with the side rails. That's just me personally, but again, if you're like just gonna have a single wheel on it or just your joysticks and you don't care about being able to mount everything all on one plate, the central mount probably wouldn't be all that terrible. Yeah, so that's the yaw. We'll go ahead and take a look at DOF Reality. Just to kind of get a cost comparison. Range of motion on the yaw 2, by the way, so that you have 55 degrees of pitch back. You've got 15 degrees of pitch forward, and then you have obviously a 360 yaw, and then you have 20 degrees of roll in either direction. So the most popular of the DOF Reality is going to be the H3. Now, your range of motion is going to be limited. So as you can see, you essentially have a 20 degrees of motion, probably in any direction. It does come with, some nice mounting stuff built in. And I believe that there's also some surge or like up and down maybe that can be done. You can also get a seat mover for like sliding forward and back, which is pretty good for racing. Kind of comes down to what you prefer. I after kind of what they tried to pitch on in the y'all Discord, I'm not a fan. But anyways, that's another route that you can go. Not a big fan of them. Okay, so another thing that you're going to need, because actually the first thing is I have dual VKB gladiators. So if we're just kind of looking at, oh, I'm so used to Vivaldi. Okay, we're doing a new tab. So you would pretty much want a right and left. Although I have the premiums. So if we add these to cart, and then I'm not going to include the cost of like my 3D printed parts, because not everyone 3D prints. So I actually have the Omni throttles, so we're gonna add those instead. Come to the cart here, and let's delete and delete. So we're looking at 350 light sticks. However, you're going to be paying at least like $35 in shipping whenever you're buying from VKB. So we're going to actually round that up to 389 or 385. And yeah, so that's for the flight sticks. And then we have the Fanatec wheel. I had their like direct drive, CSL. I got the 8 Newton meters or whatever it's called. NMs, we'll just say NMs. So that was 500. I believe they had free shipping. So yeah, we'll just stick 500 on there. As you can see, I'll include the cost of my PC as well for like what modern prices are. Let's see what you can get a 3080 Ti for on eBay. Because I have a 3080 Ti. Let's just go ahead and say 550. I have a what do I actually have in my system? Let's go ahead and open up Task Manager. Come into here. So I have a, I thought it said, oh yeah, I have a 5900X. So 5900X, 5900X, and so you can get those for around, let's say, just 270. Motherboard, we'll just throw in 150 because I know that's roughly the cost you can get an AM4 motherboard for. RAM. Yeah, whatever. You only really need 16 gigs realistically. So we'll say just $100 for that. I mean, I'm gonna just assume people have like a computer. So we're really only gonna just go based off the processor and the graphics card, because those are really going to be your main limiters when it comes to whether your system can actually support stuff. So the next thing we have is the index plus base stations. And that I got from, let's see, Valve Index. I got a refurbished one from Best Buy. How much are those currently? Nope, let's not do that. I will also include some of the costs for my Quest Pro and everything. Okay, so you're looking at basically 650 for the index and base stations. That's good to know. I do have a big screen Beyond coming, so that is basically $1,000. Obviously I don't have it yet, but that's going to be my primary headset once it arrives. I also got a Quest Pro. I'll go over kind of the pros and cons of the Quest Pro. So how much does the Quest Pro sell for on eBay right now? And I recommend if you buy a Quest Pro, buy it off of eBay. assuming you can verify the quality of it, because it's I bought the Quest Pro when it came out full cost. That was a really expensive headset at the time. For the value you got, it was not a very good value proposition whatsoever. Let's go and go 750. No, 650. That includes shipping, so 670. Whatever. You could also just get a Quest 3 instead of the Quest Pro. Quest 3, unless you're really planning on taking advantage of the face tracking, I would get a Quest 3 over the Quest Pro any day. $500, and yeah, like, I mean, Quest Pro is great for VR chat just because, you know, face and eye tracking. But other than that, no. Worse displays, worse camera. The lenses and build quality is better, but the problem is just it barely has a higher resolution than the Quest 2. And so while the pixels are denser and the lenses are fantastic, like the optical stack of the Quest Pro, top tier. Your edge-to-edge clarity is literally like edge-to-edge. Like if you can see it, even if you're looking way out of the corner of your eye, you can read text on it just fine. There is no blurring due to the lenses. That is not the case on the Index or the Big Screen Beyond, unfortunately. I do hope that one day we can get lens replacements for the Big Screen Beyond that could bring them in line with the Quest Pro, because man, the lenses on the Quest Pro are good. So another thing that you're going to need is aluminum extrusion if you're going to be building your own mounting setup. Now, you don't have to, obviously, but I'm going to throw it in here anyways. I highly recommend going with a setup like I have here. You don't even necessarily need to have a desk. You can essentially just build mounts using the aluminum extrusion. How big is 1,000 millimeters? What is that in inches, Mr. America Man? 1,002 inches. Okay, all right. So these are pretty long. So these are about 3 feet. Let's just go ahead and do it to foot. Yeah, so a little over 3 feet. How long are mine? Hold on, let me get a ruler. I do not know where my measuring tape is right now. I also don't know why I was wearing my headphones. It's not like I'm listening to anything. Yeah, I don't know where it is. I'm pretty sure though that my rails are 4 feet long. 4 feet? No feet? The good old guesstimation measurements. 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, 5-ish. I might have gotten 5-foot rails. Let me actually check. Just gonna check my Amazon page currently. Oh, you know what would be really sad is if I wasn't live this whole time. No, looks like I am. I'm here. All right. So we are looking at the slot. Okay, aluminum. Okay, yeah, so they were 4 feet, 4 feet long. Okay, so a little bit longer. But this probably actually would work. So if you had 5 foot pieces here, let's just add these to the cart. 5 feet is probably a good amount. The 4 feet are a little bit long. I mean, you obviously have like, I mean, I'm 5'7", so I'm not super tall, but you could still have your feet setup system to allow for plenty. Anyways, so we got that. We would also want to add some 1040 extrusion. Wait, hold on. No. Sorry, I'm sorry. It's 2020 aluminum extrusion. Extrusion. I'm gonna stop there. Probably you wouldn't need more than these 4 pieces. Just here, and then let's look at 2020 gantry plate. So looking at these, probably would only need 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you want it to be height adjustable, you'd need more. But let's go ahead and just say 6. And then you would need V-slot brackets. So you would probably be good with just like a set of these. Wouldn't technically need more, but just to be on the safe side, it doesn't hurt to get brackets like these as well, so you kind of are covering your bases. Okay, so looking at, let's say give or take, and I'm assuming you would have power tools. My gantry system relies on a star. I believe, actually, what were they that I got? Sorry, they're M5s. So we would need these because basically on my simulator, I have a hole that's drilled through a piece of a 2020 aluminum extrusion that is on the gantry plate, and then that has a M5 bolt here that goes through it into the longer piece of aluminum, and that's what allows me to tighten this and allows for my simulator to be able to, or the desk to slide forward and back. So let's go ahead and just say mounting stuff, we're looking at $235. And you could technically create an entire like mounting setup just out of extrusion. You don't need to have a desk like this. I just happen to have it, and so I made do with what I had. Okay, so what else would be needed? Trying to think if there's anything else. You would need you wouldn't need that anymore because the new Yaw 2s, they have a wireless USB solution. I obviously have a wired one. You can see the USB cable right there, with the slip ring and everything. Trying to think. Oh, one thing you would need though is a powered USB hub. Let me actually just put in the one that I have for my simulator. USB hub. So I got this. So USB hub, and it's 48 And we'll just do $49. Okay. I believe that's all the hard stuff you would need. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. These pedals are already there. Okay. So maybe all these costs will be a little bit less than I initially thought. So let's go ahead and just hold on, someone coming downstairs. Okay, let's see. I am bad with Google Sheets. How do I just add all of these? Let's just Google it. How to add a row. Google Sheets. No, like add values from a column, not row. Some column. That's right. That's what it is. What was it? So looking for the, what is that symbol called? The top navigational toolbar. Select the. I'm gonna need to do this. Okay, here we are. So we're wanting to sum that. Okay, so we would be looking at $9,079, roughly, give or take. I mean, this is all just an estimate, so yeah, about 10 grand. Of course, that includes the big screen beyond. So if we were to get rid of the index and just use the big screen beyond, that would be 8,000. Obviously, as well, you probably wouldn't have a Quest Pro and a Quest 3. So we'll just, actually, I'm just going to put these here. And 500. So, okay, so you'd be looking at more like 7,259. If you also include the cost of your graphics card and a processor. Now, obviously, you could go with. Let's actually look at other motion simulators that possibly are on the market. So, there's obviously DOF Reality. Why do I keep doing that? But again, I don't like them. Let's look at. I haven't actually seen some of these simulators before. The only ones I was familiar with were DOF Reality. CXC simulators for home. What are we looking at here? Includes displays with it. Jeez. Okay. I'll say virtual reality. What do you mean add? Oh. Okay. Standard bodywork, carbon fiber, seat. Let's say you just do a standard seat. So they're like really like, okay, let's get you the whole, like they procure everything for you. Synchro. Okay, yeah, you're not buying this unless you're really looking for someone to just do all the work for you. Digital Motorsports. What have they got? This is basically just like, does this even have motion, or how does this work? Okay, so you got like some little movements, just little pistons that go up and down. Not knocking them, but I'm guessing there's a reason they're out of stock and not refilling stock. Yeah, I think unfortunately, like the by direct. Well, this one actually doesn't look bad. I don't know enough about any of these to really make recommendations, though, other than the Yaw 2 or the DOF Reality. But let's just say DOF Reality, comparable 3 DOF. The H3 has 3 DOF as well. It's not as much range, but that is 25, 27. 25, 27. Yeah, so... Oh, I need to change this to B1. So with the DOF Reality, you're shaving off $2,000. You're still going to be spending at least, once like you factor in all the other miscellaneous things you'll end up buying for it, you're still going to be over $6,000. Yeah. So. Okay, well, now as far as what I've actually spent, let's go ahead and dive into that. So I got my yaw for about 2,500. My index, I did get it refurbished. My Quest Pro, I bought for 1,500. I don't have a Quest 3. Do I have anything else that I've bought that's kind of extra? I don't think so. Well, I guess there was a USB cable, but yeah, that was like, $30. So, wow, I've spent almost $8,000 on VR stuff, and that doesn't include the 4 Quest 2s that I have as well. So those were bought for like $1,000. Oh, I spent too much money on this stuff. Yeah, technically, though, with my flight sticks, I would save about $50 because I 3D printed my Omni throttles instead of buying it. So there's that. Yeah, that's I think those are my costs. Well, I'll go ahead and add timestamps to this so that for anyone that's deciding they want to look into getting their own simulator, these are kind of rough costs that you can expect. Or I guess I see I have 3 concurrent viewers at the moment. If anyone has any questions about like any questions you want to ask really about the simulator, let me know. I'll probably keep this up for a little bit more. The number of live viewers isn't massive, but maybe I can think of questions people might ask. You know what? Actually, let me go ahead and do a tour of how I actually have my simulators mounting peripherals and everything set up. If we come into NDI, is this going to crop up? All right, let's see here. Yeah, we should be good. I'm going to actually switch, just make this a little bit larger here. Thank you, Tippy Toes. If you have any questions, I'll go ahead and give more of a tour here. Let me actually move this out of the way so people can look at costs again. Hold on, let's actually return this to the actual cost of what the yaw is today. So pretty much what I have for how this whole shebang is set up. I have connected to the main plate on the yaw these side rails, and then I have some 3D printed stuff and magnets that were from various other projects. Hold on, it's going to be a little difficult to hear me when I'm over there. I'm just going to have to talk really loud, I guess. Yeah, so pretty much what I have is on these, I just have this 2040 rail mounted just using general mounting stuff that I had available. Added them to the list. And that obviously comes and sticks out on both ends. And then for the feet adjustment, I have essentially a 2020 rail right here connected to a gantry. And then I drilled a hole through the 2020 so that I can put this screw through it, which is then just using a V-slot, whatever it's called, so that I can tighten it. And that way, if I loosen my little bolt here, it's able to slide freely. Same thing on both sides. Then for mounting the pedals, I'm just essentially using the holes that were in this to use the angle mounts to stick it on another 2040 rail. That must have been annoying. RIP headphone users, maybe. So same thing on this side. And technically, this isn't needed anymore. I did have my desk set up on a hinge so I could lift it up and then sit down. But the problem with that was that the hinge just introduced wobble that I didn't like. So I decided to get rid of the hinge as I was designing this. But I did make this height adjustable, so you'll see that I have two rails right here and bolts that loosen it. And then I have this gantry system that is just a 2040 gantry that allows me to lift it up and down in case I have guests over that are tall. On this side, I have a similar setup. And as far as the actual rails go, I have a 2020 gantry. Sorry, not a 2020 gantry, a 2020 rail with a gantry connected to the bottom of it and then holes drilled through it. So again, I can tighten and loosen it whenever I need to. And that's what allows me to be able to just loosen these nuts and then slide like so. Then it makes it easy to get in and out, and you can just slide it back. And then as far as mounting my joysticks go, I'm just using 3M double-sided sticky things to get this steel plate connected here. And then I just have magnets on the bottom of these. So at some point, I may, if like I'm doing competitive Star Citizen or whatever, want to not play from the simulator because I would be at a significant disadvantage. I should be able to just create a secondary mounting system, and then I can just take these off because they're magnets, put them on the new system, take them off again, put them back on, like so. So yeah, that's how I have the mounting set up. A couple of things if you do get a motion simulator, especially the yaw. There is a place in the back here for putting weights. It's highly recommended that you have your yaw set up so that if you turn it off, and I'll turn it off as an example here, just make sure this is all the way back. You want the simulator to be like balanced. So it's off right now. I can move it. And the reason you want that is because when you start to have weight in the front of the simulator, it puts a lot of stress on the motors because 5 pounds, like 5 feet off center, gets exponentially heavier the further it is from the center of mass of where the motors are all connected to the yaw. Or any motion simulator for that matter. So for longevity's sake, you really want to make sure that you have a good center of gravity. I, instead of getting weights, just set the seat as far back as I could. When you're mounting the seat, there's like a little plate and some screws on the bottom of it that allow you to shift where the seat resides further back going forward. And so rather than putting weights in the back and introducing extra weight, why not just use my body as a counterweight? So yeah, that is that's the gist of it. Thank you, Tippy Toes. I don't know that I would call it impressive engineering. I mean it's all right. It's all right engineering. A lot of it was kind of like I had this rough idea in my head, and then I kind of put it into practice. And it would be really great engineering if I would go through the work to get rid of. Oh, let me go ahead and turn off this camera. If I went through the process to clean up, like for instance, getting like redoing the side on the left so that I don't have the hinge thing on it. But it's like it works. It's relatively easy to get in and out of. And I enjoy it. Let's see. As far as like software goes, because people might be interested. By the way, the hardware for this simulator is great. When you get one that works, there is some issues with shipping damaging the yaw in transit, which it's not great. It's not fair to the people that don't get good ones. But yaw has been trying as best as they can to get those. And by the way, this is already version 2.0. So that's for version 3.0, which may come along at some point. We'll see. But yeah, so shipping's been an issue. So software. There is primarily two programs that you're going to use. If you get the yaw, you'll definitely be using the yaw VR game engine. If you're not, though, then you will probably be using Sim Racing Studio. Sim Racing Studio is kind of like industry standard right now. I'm not a pro with it. I don't understand how tuning profiles in Sim Racing Studio work. It confuses me. It doesn't make any sense to me. But fortunately, most games are pretty well set up. So essentially in Sim Racing Studio, you would just come into setup, you come into hardware, and it will usually just detect the yaw 2 on its own. Then when you launch your game, you just make sure that you have your motion box set up, and you follow the instructions for whatever game you have, and it will hook into the game and take control. It's really pretty self-explanatory, but this is just kind of what it looks like. You can set up, let me take a step back, motion compensation, especially if you have yaw in your device. You need to have motion compensation because otherwise, when your simulator turns this way, your head also turns this way. So if your screen, or like you're driving a car and the front windshield is this way, once the simulator's this way, now you're going to have to crane your head like this, and when you turn around, yeah, it's not going to be a good time. So motion compensation just kind of runs through some algorithms to make it so that your vision is always looking straight ahead. The nice thing about the yaw 2 is it has a virtual tracker that's built into it. I have a YouTube video that kind of goes over how that works. It's kind of crazy to me that my live streams get more views than that video. I guess that video is kind of boring compared to watching me play Star Citizen. But essentially, it's just a little tracker. It tracks your position based off of the position your simulator's in, and then you use what's called OpenVR motion compensation, or if you're using OpenXR, there's OpenXR motion compensation. I haven't gotten OpenXR I haven't gotten OpenXR motion compensation working personally, but I would like to at some point. So just kind of going over like an example of how the setup for all this works. Inside of Star Citizen, I have this profile, and essentially I have a VJoy driver, and it's self-explanatory. You have your input, so y-axis on the VJoy joystick, rotation X, rotation Y, rotation Z, and then you kind of just add multipliers onto whatever that value is, and you map that to an output. So this input you see right here is essentially saying on rotation Z, for every positive increment, multiply that increment by 70. And then for every negative increment, multiply that by 30 and send it to the pitch. Missing anything? Software-wise, installing motion compensation, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just install OpenVR drivers and Game Engine takes care of it for you. If you're playing a game like, let's say, Dirt Rally, the default profile works pretty well. Yeah, I don't know much of what else to go over, so I may wrap up the stream now. Yeah, I also, as a little bit of a show and tell, I also have a catwalk over there. I probably spent less than 10 hours in the catwalk, though. I want to like the catwalk, and I think the hardware is really good, but the joystick emulation from walking is just, it just doesn't feel super fluid and natural. And like playing competitive games, you're at such a disadvantage because like it's really hard to move side to side. Like I tried playing Breachers inside of that, and it was just really difficult, especially because you're locked in. It makes it really hard to like peek around walls because like I essentially have to stand still, get a little bit far away from the wall, lean in the opposite direction, move slightly so it recenters me, and then move over like this so that I can get, a leaning angle. But I digress. Yeah, if you have catwalk is doing this cool thing where you can go and try a catwalk in some cities. I recommend you try and do that personally before buying one because it's just unfortunately like not the experience you feel like it should be. And I think that there's like what Catwalk and a lot of these VR treadmill companies need to do is they need to create some Unreal Engine and Unity plugins that allow you to be able to actually map the movement in the game to the feet controllers. Because if you could actually have it where your character's feet move in the game according to where your feet are being placed and how your feet are moving, that would be amazing. Like, using a combination of, what's it called? I think it's like motion estimation. There's someone who I'm a patron of on Patreon. I don't remember his name. I don't think it's Lucid VR. It's somebody. They're making like a full body estimation thing that's actually pretty good. Like it can get you laying down. Even if you kick, it's pretty good at detecting those movements just from the 3 points of right hand, left hand, and your headset. Because there's actually a lot of when you're standing and kicking, right? There's a lot more that goes into the movement than just your leg moving. And so it can kind of guesstimate what you're trying to do, even if it's just kicking. And anyways, that sort of technology. The software has a long way to come, which is a shame. And I look forward to the Apple Vision Pro coming out because I'm confident that once the Vision Pro is out, we're going to see software just explode in VR. That's my hope at the very least. I'd like to be somewhat positive in that future because I want to be able to justify the $1,200 investment into the catwalk. But I'll probably get more time out of it once I get my big screen beyond. I'd like to play Breachers again. I'm really sensitive to quality, and so like playing Breachers, like the Valve Index is just not sharp enough. It's just not sharp enough for me. It's everything just looks blurry, and kind of grainy, and then Fresnel lenses. Yeah, I'm excited for my big screen Beyond. In fact, I already have a custom head strap 3D printed for when my big screen Beyond comes. So this will be great. You're a QA. What yeah. Yeah. I look forward to where VR is going. I think that we're going to see a lot of really cool stuff in VR soon, especially when the Deckard comes out, whatever that ends up being. Yeah, but until then, I mean, things are still fun. Ghost of Tabor, I want to get into that when I get the big screen Beyond too. What are some other games I'm looking forward to? So Ghost of Tabor, obviously. I've got Star Citizen in a pretty workable state. Oh, I need to play. What's it called? Oh, it's a flat screen game that has a VR mod. Why can't I remember what it's called? It's like it's not a horror game, but it's a really scary Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds. I need to play Outer Wilds. Yeah, Linus. I think I can echo pretty much all of Linus's sentiments on the big screen Beyond. My biggest issue getting into VR has always been the barrier to get into it. It's not comfortable. It gets really sweaty. Moving your head around is like you compensate for it, but there's like so much shifting, right? Like when I play Dirt Rally 2, my simulator is moving so much that I'm not actually like able to focus on anything because the simulator is constantly not the simulator. Well, yeah, the simulator is bumping the headset around so much that like the sweet spot keeps moving around. So it's kind of like my clarity window is just like little circles that's going like this as I'm driving. And it's it's good enough. But it's not like an ideal experience. So I'm also looking forward to the higher resolution displays. I am going to give working from VR a serious shot. Yeah, like virtual desktops inside of the big screen Beyond. We'll see. We'll see how great the resolution gets, but yeah, man. Wait, OC2. What's the OC2? What's that an acronym for? It's not the Quest, right? Is that the Quest? Do people call the Quest 2 the OC2? Okay, all right, yeah, yeah, the Quest 2. All right, yeah. I mean, because like, yeah, I was just wondering because like C Quest doesn't have a C in it. But yeah, no worries. Yeah, that's another thing too about the Quest 2. Like one great thing about the Quest Pro, which obviously I think the Quest Pro, especially when it came out, was way overpriced. Actually, no. The Quest Pro wasn't necessarily overpriced. The issue with the Quest Pro was kind of a combination of timing, but then also like direction. They should not have done the cameras the way they did. They shouldn't have gotten rid of the LiDAR that they had inside of it. But the one great thing about this device, and it is fantastic, is the lenses. So much so that even if this headset shifts around, it doesn't matter because things are just as clear at the edge as it is in the center. So yeah, Quest 2. Quest 2 with its sweet spots and how heavy it is and moving around, especially if you don't have one of the better straps. It's a bit of a beast. So yeah, okay, so we've been live for about an hour now. I'm probably going to be streaming some Star Citizen again later tonight. I'm probably going to end the stream here. I will put timestamps for different like content portions in here, just in case people want to go and look at, I don't know, whatever else. I'll probably do that, tomorrow or something, or maybe I'll do it tonight. We'll see where my time goes. But thanks for joining, Tippy Toes, and good luck with your own VR ventures. And thanks for lurking. And yeah, go ahead and end it here.